Welcome back, everyone, to the next installment of The Letter. We are playing as Luke and seeing his side of the story with their marital trouble. Gray skies loom over on the horizon, though the sun fights for every precious minute it gets to stay. It'll rain again soon, with the wind bringing along the gloomy clouds normal to Luxburn. Until then, it doesn't hurt to be out here for fresh air and sunshine. I walk to the gardens, what little of it there is at the moment anyway, and kneel by the daffodils. These were the first to be brought here and planted on my request, and if nothing else, they brought in a sense of peace. They were Mother's favorites. Closing my eyes, I lift my chin up to welcome the light that shines upon me. And for a minute, I can imagine myself as one of the flowers, peaceful, blooming, and all too happy to stand in its warmth. Life would be much easier if we were all like flowers, wouldn't it? But I didn't step out here to get all philosophical. I have problems much more practical than figuring out the meaning of life, after all. Too many things have gone on these past few days, and I want to forget about them, even for just a moment.
It's almost All Saints, isn't it? To think I've almost forgotten.
I speak the words absent-mindedly. The date means nothing to me, as I neither worship the religion nor have any graves to visit. After all, Mother was never given a proper burial. But it's a date, as good as any, for me to grieve. Otherwise, I would have done so every single day, crippling myself and shutting everyone else out. I can remember how the flames licked at her flesh and how it consumed her body until there was nothing left but ash. I stood there watching with the operator and a social service worker, though I could have been alone for all I cared. I felt alone. It was the most that could be done. No one would attend the funeral of a dead prostitute, let alone pay for it. So that's how this all started. All that is left of her, proof that she had lived, is her name written in the ledger of Luxburn Cemetery, a lighter, and me. Pulling out the lighter from my jacket, I can't stop myself from flicking it open to stare at the flame and to run my thumb over her name. Eleanor. All in all, it isn't much, but it's something. And it'll be wrong of me not to make something of myself when she would have given everything to make sure I can become anything I want to be.
Feels like I'm stuck in a nightmare right now. What I would give to have you here by my side, Mother dear. To see you smiling at me. Alive and as beautiful as ever. I'm afraid I'm starting to forget what your face looks like. I've already forgotten the shade of your hair.
Eleanor Chandler was a wonderful woman, though not everyone would have agreed. Not everyone had seen past her occupation, past her vices and her illness. All they saw was a poor woman who sold her body to make ends meet and had a bastard son because of it. They didn't see the mother who worked hard to put food on the table for me, the woman who gave and gave and gave to me while expecting nothing in return. She taught me the merits of hard work, but, though I loved her so, I worked hard for myself. I would not be so foolish, so selfless, towards people who would never give back. I learned that from the father who plucked me out of an orphanage for his own selfish gain. I pocket the lighter before I can feel the urge to actually set anything ablaze. Considering my close proximity to the flowers, they would be the most likely victim of arson. Just the thought itself is blasphemous. Nevertheless, that doesn't save them from being picked, just enough to make a bouquet of the things in honor of Eleanor.
Would you be proud of me if you saw me now, Mother? Maybe. You're always so forgiving. No matter what trouble I got into, more than I deserved. Especially now.
It's been a while since I've talked to my mother like this. I've been thinking of both my dear parents far too much as of late, when I shouldn't. I have a future to look forward to, and the present to take care of. These memories of the past give me nothing but grief. The life of Lucille Mitchell Chandler should be nothing but a footnote in Luke Wright's non-existent autobiography. It's because of Hannah, isn't it? I worry that she is all too much like Mother that it scares me, and the thought that I'm turning into my father is even more so. But even if history is so set to repeat itself, I'm not a child anymore. Content to sit aside, unable to do anything to help, and too inexperienced to think that the worst wouldn't happen. I have money to buy the best medicines and doctors if need be. She'll get better. She has to. And once we get over this little bump in the road, I can stop worrying. All will be right with the world. Unfortunately, my time alone is cut short, though.
I think those flowers look beautiful, my lord.
Some random maid?
The parlor, the room where the lady stays for her tea. It could certainly use some.
The voice is not familiar, though I'm not really one to remember such things. What? Ghost in human form? Going with her attire, I would say that she's one of the housekeepers. Strange, considering I've sent all the staff but Johannes away. Yeah, this is a problem. And her face, as pretty as it is unfamiliar to me. It would be a lie if I said that it didn't set me on edge. Most would say that I cared little for my employees. That isn't entirely untrue. However, I'd like to think I know the people who work for me, especially those who would roam my home, even if it's just a face and a name. I'm going to save the game real quick. Besides, I would remember a beauty such as her. So, who is this? If she is someone impersonating a household staff to get in, she's doing a bad job of it.
Didn't you get the memo? Are you new?
The memo?
Today is a day off. You aren't supposed to be here.
I expect poor excuses and apologies the likes of her often give, but she merely smiles.
Oh, no. I've been a servant here since you first came.
Uh-huh. And I see no signs of lying, nor hear it in her words, yet they can't be true. But I find that I feel like I can relax. She has that sort of smile that makes one's kindness shine through without words or action. It reaches her eyes, filling them with a strange sort of mirth, as if she's just thought of something very funny, like how we're being duped. Perhaps had it been any other person, I would have interpreted it as a deceitful grin, a little on the nose. But the curl of her lips and the shine of her eyes are too soft to hold any malice. She takes my silence as a sign that she can continue, and it's not like I feel any urgency to stop her. I'm not really in the mood for company, but I'm not averse to it at the moment either. Entertaining a beauty like her, even for a little while, wouldn't hurt. It helps that she proves easy to listen to, despite how oddly she speaks. Oh?
I'm sorry. I apologize. I shouldn't have bothered you. Look at me, talking to the master of the house without even asking for permission. What will the others think?
Is that what this is? Is the ghost some household servant that got killed in some horrible way because she discovered something she shouldn't have or whatever? Because talking to the master without asking for permission, is that like an old style rule or something? I'm super saving it.
If you'll excuse me, I'll just...
I haven't driven you away yet, have I? And it's your day off. I don't see why we can't chat a bit.
Of course. If that is what you wish. As long as it does not get you into trouble with the lady. To even take time for someone as lowly as me. No wonder that everyone under the mansion's employ is so fond of you.
Even her manner of speech is a little stilted, but like, yeah, this is a problem.
Though it should have no longer been a surprise to me. You have always been such a kind and loving lord.
I know Luke's full of himself, but he can't fall for this. He knows who he is. I have to stop my... Yeah! I have to stop myself from calling her out in her shite. It's almost as if she's talking about an entirely different man. Is that a thing, though? Didn't I mention before that Luke looks remarkably like the old master of the house? Is that what's happening here? No matter how big my ego gets, I know for a fact that I'm hardly in the running for Best Boss of the Year award. The only reason that most of my staff stay is because of the decent compensation. I'm not cheap. But if she wants to lay it on thick, I'll allow it. Who wouldn't want a beautiful woman complimenting them?
I'm sure she'll be fine with this. We are just talking after all.
If I want to cheat, I'll do it in the bar.
Unless you had other things on your mind when you approached me.
The words leave my mouth before I even realize what I've said. I panic a bit. Yeah. Though I can get away with picking up women out in the city, sometimes even out of the county, I've always taken care not to do so in my home or in my businesses. Not when it'll be so easy for Hannah to find out about my infidelity through these channels. Though, seriously, I still don't see what the big deal about it is. I just have an itch I need to scratch.
I know it must be amusing to see a girl flustered for a man of your stature. But please don't say such things, my lord. I saw you alone and simply thought you could use some company.
This really is an interesting situation, because they're both effectively the villains of the story here. But it's just interesting to see Luke kind of thrown off his game by stuff like this. Thankfully, and I do count my lucky stars, it seems the woman takes it as a joke, rather than the casual pass it was intended to be.
So how are you liking your work around the mansion? The place is wonderful, but I imagine the upkeep is ungodly with all the rooms and whatnot. I don't even want to think about how many people are on the staff roster.
Work is work, my lord. It is a way of living, a purpose from day to day. It is certainly far better than doing nothing or having no food to eat. The house itself is also beautiful. There's no lack of things to look at. I'm sure you've seen those books in the study. I can't read any of them yet, but if given the chance,
Yeah, she is clearly from, like, whatever it was, 300-400 years ago.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be thinking of those things.
The only thing I'm curious about is why she's letting this go on for as long as it is. Is this actually a flash of her former self, or is the ghost playing the very long con?
Especially when the rains, they might bring more work to us soon. It will definitely be much more difficult when it returns. Idling about is the least I should be doing.
I guess you can put it that way if you want to be brutally honest about the whole thing. And the rain shouldn't be a problem. Hopefully. Maybe.
If a little dreary, at least she doesn't beat around the bush. I like the honesty. Many would bemoan their status as a household staff, as a janitor or other menial role, and believe themselves to be for greater things. And I would not begrudge the idea that one can always get better. Yeah, he would know. But one shouldn't be so discontent with what they have, either.
The rain is something I simply must get accustomed to, if I am to live here. I've not spent long in this place after all.
Is she flashing back? Because she's been here for hundreds of years.
But I have been told that it has rained in this nation since a mother's time, and their mother's time. There is little we can do about it. I am just glad to have time in the sun, even for a short while.
Isn't that the truth? Really, these sunny days have been welcome, though I can't imagine they'll last for long.
Now we have a big dramatic thunderstorm in 2 days.
Sometimes I just want to pack my things and leave for somewhere like, say, the Bahamas or whatnot. Get some sun and surf.
But certainly, you will return for us, won't you? This is your home, after all. Your people, they won't be pleased if the master of the house leaves.
Of course, I can't very well leave my businesses hanging here, can I? I just wish I could actually trust people enough to go on vacation without taking work with me.
And now this raises a question, because the ghost is clearly bitter. She seems to have Hannah hostage. So what happened?
I've also got to get back here if I ever want proper meals. A proper pudding is something you'll never find out there.
The woman nods in understanding, and I must say that she makes for a fine listening ear. Though what she says next gives me pause, whether she meant for me to hear it or not.
And good tea. From what the cook has been telling me, I've yet learned how to prepare one. Perhaps once I do, it would endear the lady of the house to me. I never expected her to be so unkind after what she did for me.
Huh. This one I really can't place.
Though it's only if one catches her in a foul mood. I wish I knew how to avoid her anger.
I highly doubt she means Hannah. That woman rarely has a mean bone in her body, and when she actually is nasty towards someone else, it's usually deserving enough, much like with that Rochelle woman. Hell, she even tolerates Harvey for me, even if she did admit that she doesn't quite like the man. Yeah. She must mean the head housemaid, right? I have to laugh at that. Not that I have room to speak, I don't deal with her myself anymore, though even Johannes has a few choice words about the head hag. Jeez. She's just been under the right employ when she was also head housemaid for my father. And if anyone's not going to get along with someone, it'd be that crotchety old woman. I don't even remember her name. But the woman had been this strict upstart bitch who took one look at me, her master's bastard son, and turned her nose up as if she were better by mere consequence of birth. That, and she absolutely loathed my very existence. Perhaps the rumors had been true. She had a miscarriage while bearing another one of dearest father's children, and she saw me as an obstacle to her being granted a better standing in life. I remember that much, at least. The only reason I haven't sacked her yet is because of her competence. Also because working under my household makes her— I figured, now you work for me. Also because working under my household makes her absolutely miserable. Her resignation made impossible by her pride.
Nobody really gets along with that woman. I think everyone just tolerates her because of how old she is.
Okay, but she still thinks that he means his wife, so that's gonna come off weird.
I mean, not to be rude or awful or anything, but she's at the age where she'll be pushing daisies soon enough.
Is she? Really, my lord? I'm sure the lady is much younger than that.
I think the thought of tormenting the young and beautiful gives her reason to live.
That man, they are having two separate conversations.
It does seem that way. Though I feel sorry for her. One's life should not be wasted away on hatred and anger. It is never good for the heart or the head to always carry ill thoughts. But at the least, you are here for us. We are certainly so lucky to have a lord like you. The lady even more so.
The ancestors must have had something weird going on, because of course, Luke's an ass, and Hannah's the pleasant one in the present day.
The gods smile down on her. Though, if I may be honest, she is to be envied.
Even when I have my suspicions about her, she's just so easy to talk with that I've forgotten that I need to save. I don't know who she is, and if she's actually one of the household staff. That would explain why she would so easily give obviously wrong statements about my character. I love that. Obviously wrong statements about how great I am. Though if she is here for malicious reasons, she would have done more than do small talk with me by now, wouldn't she? I have so many questions. Perhaps curiosity will kill this cat. Well, be careful though, because this is the villain of the game, and satisfaction brought it back.
It's strange that I've never seen you before. What's your name?
Oh, this ought to be good.
You do not remember?
I don't believe you've mentioned it, or am I missing something?
This is where things go south. Oh my god, you're not the Lord, spooky ghost.
You still cannot comprehend it, can you, my lord?
Her answer chips away at the good mood I'm starting to get into. I have every right to be angry at the cryptic response. She threatens insubordination with her very presence alone. But instead of hurling vitriol at the woman, I take a deep breath. I do not want my mood ruined further than it already is. Not right now, when I can let my temper take its course another time.
Whatever your name is, and no matter how long you've been working for us, that does not change the fact that you shouldn't be here. I'll call you a cab to bring you to the city if you want.
Shouldn't I? What if I do not wish to leave?
Oh, I heard that music. Okay!
I merely desire to stay by your side and serve. Is that such a deplorable thing?
Yeah, hold that thought. Her gaze sends chills down my spine. It's too easy to see the devotion, the obsession in her eyes. Not the good sort either, as her scrutiny makes me feel like I'm laid bare. The offness of her presence is all the more palpable with the feeling of bugs crawling on my skin, and the silence that makes it seem as if the world has stopped. Any friendly atmosphere we might have had going for us is completely forgotten. But you know what? This does explain something, though. This explains why Luke is the one guy who hasn't been haunted this entire game, even though you'd think everybody would be getting equal treatment. I mean, you can argue this is a haunting, but this is not a I'm gonna kill you, the grudge ghost haunting, you know? But it might become one. Danger. A small part in the back of my mind screams, the part that has kept me alive all these years. And, in hindsight, I'd be stupid not to take heed of it. But I've grown arrogant, complacent, and content to hide behind wealth and power.
Yes, it's a deplorable thing, as you said, because I'd like to be alone now. Thank you very much. If you didn't want the day off, you should have reported to your superior. This is utterly unprofessional of you, and I shall be issuing complaints. In fact, if you know it's good for you, you should start looking for another employer.
Oh, I'm really saving now. I mean, we're guaranteed to survive this because we make it to, the climax, but it's at my threat that the smile on her face turns tight. And her eyes get crazy? Is that what we're gonna do? We're gonna go to the crazy eyes and the big grin?
I see. It escapes you still. This is unfortunate.
I thought you'd be the one. I thought you, of all the lords I've talked to, would be the one to break this curse, but no.
How despairing that this misery must go on.
I was right?
But maybe, if you come with me, I can help you. I can...
So she just waits for whoever owns the house next, like whatever next lord. There's gotta be something going on with this in the past. When she reaches out for me, I recoil with a hiss.
How dare you lay your filthy hands on me without my permission? I am not going anywhere with you. Now step back and walk away before I have you forcibly removed.
Alright, here we go, here we go. Boom! As if a switch had been flipped, the woman's expression turns horrific. Although that may very well be the understatement of the century. She herself turns horrific. Her presence is suffocating, bearing down on me. So we had our chance, we blew it. I'm rooted on the spot, through no fault of my own, as my fear paralyzes.
You are too much like that vile woman, poisoned by her rotten influence and her filthy words. But that can be remedied now that you're here. Oh, how we have waited to welcome you home. Come, my lord. The house beckons.
I love the eyeballs moving. She's got the really even crazier eyes. When her fingers grasp the back of my coat, I finally find it in me to break off into a run. And that was it! We did it! I could still feel her eyes on me as I run back to the house. But hold on, it might not be over. But I refuse to acknowledge it, let alone look back. All I need is to get away from her to make sure she stays away. So perhaps that's why he had the increased guard. Spooky ghost. If that means acting like a coward and seeking out company to keep me safe, nobody can tell me to do otherwise. Bravery isn't something to be lauded if it comes along with stupidity. It must have been a sight to see the usually composed and reserved Luke Wright bursting through the doors. Not that I have much of an audience unless there are other staff members who've chosen to disregard my orders and to leave. Really, I still doubt that woman is one of the staff. Mustering up the courage, I look back through the windows to see if she followed me. But no, she's already in the staircase above me somehow. She's gone. But I don't take any chances, putting as much distance as I can between us. Oh, thank God. The other killer. Stopping to catch my breath, Johannes' sudden appearance nearly makes me jump out of my skin.
Don't fucking do that, you son of a bitch! If I had a gun, I would have shot you!
If I had any love left for my mutter, I'd take offense.
Huh.
But what happened to you? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Oh, if only it were such a delusion. Little do we know! But I can still feel her sharp nails digging into my back. The feeling was too real for it to have been a ghost.
There was his housekeeper. I think, I'm not sure. In the gardens. She was acting odd and I thought to remove myself from the scene.
Strange. I made sure the rest of the staff had left and that the house was empty, as you requested. Describe this woman.
She had pale skin, dark eyes, and long dark hair. She wouldn't give me her name.
I half expect a name from him. The man knows the staff better than I do, after all. But instead of an answer, he grows quiet. I'm pretty sure that is not a good thing. I'm even more worried when the other man looks me over. I have to protest when he pulls back my collar.
What in the bloody hell are you doing?
Checking for marks. Needle marks, to be exact. We don't have anyone like that among the staff. You could have easily been kidnapped.
A cold feeling settles itself over me at the thought. That is interesting. It's not what happened, but that's an interesting thought. I've long established my power over the more unsavory characters in Luxburn. Or I thought I did. And the most harm I thought that could come to me would be slander, robbery, or incarceration. Kidnapping? An attempt on my own person? I've forgotten that I'm as human, as mortal as any other man, despite my wealth and status.
Fortunately, you look unharmed. But I advise that you be accompanied by trusted individuals at all times from now on. If not me, an assigned guard. I'll be informing them of this soon, as they return from their day in the city.
Already I can feel the energy leave me at the realization of what could have been.
All right. Yes, I suppose we should do that. But I think I'd like to call it a day. I should be safe in bed, yes?
I'll stand guard outside for the night. The madam has been inquiring about you, by the way.
A guard. Any other threat and he alone would be enough to make me feel safe. But what I saw, whatever it is I saw, would one man be enough?
That's all well and good, but there's something else. That housekeeper, she...
Luke, you're home. I was worried about you.
The grin that I can muster is probably lopsided. Forced as I snapped my mouth shut to keep myself blabbing about witches and monsters. Because here I am standing in the hallway, dirt on my pant legs and sweat dotting my forehead. A far cry from my usually pristine condition. I don't want to worry Hannah. A cough.
What happened to you? You look like you wrestled in the mud and lost, dear. And those flowers. Were you gardening?
What? Oh, these. I didn't realize I still had them.
I really did not. But there they are, still in my grip, the daffodils I had taken from the garden. Even in the wake of my flight, I had refused to let go of them, whether I was conscious of it or not.
Shall I put them in a vase?
Oh. Oh, okay, no, I was thinking vase or give them. I gotta give them, right? Why wouldn't I? Yeah, of course. Perhaps I did it to save face, or maybe a small part of me really had planned to take them for her. But like a young man presenting flowers to a Valentine's, I awkwardly thrust the bouquet in Hannah's direction.
They're for you.
These are lovely, thank you. But aren't these?
The surprise is to be expected, and the open-ended question needs little interpretation. I've never given her daffodils before, especially not from ones that I considered mine.
They're for you. Don't make me think that kneeling around in the dirt was a waste of my time.
It's not. It's not. Just... Are you feeling alright? I hope whatever I have isn't contagious.
I'm not sick, Hannah. I just got them for you. I thought they'd make you feel better, brighten up the room. I don't need my intentions questioned. The thank you was enough.
The compliment was sufficient. Thank you.
And I didn't mean to insinuate anything. But you're right. Thank you, truly, for these.
She takes them from me then, careful not to crush the stems. There is still uncertainty on her face which endears and annoys me in equal parts. But she does look lovely with them, the very picture of her something that should be immortalized in paint. They should be for Mother, but it doesn't matter anymore.
Why don't we turn in for the night? You must be exhausted with all that gardening.
What does a dead woman care for flowers? This isn't gonna come back, is it? Like, I don't really see this coming back to bite me. It's weird that they would offer me the option at all, but like, what is the ghost of my mom gonna come back? Like, I don't... Okay, next day. We're doing it. I didn't get any sleep. Not a single wink. I was so busy jumping in every shadow and worrying about waking with a knife in my chest. Or not waking at all. Even when Hannah wakes, in spite of a mild fever, and goes downstairs for breakfast, I stay in bed, thoughts of poisoned food running in my head. The rain that has started sometime during the night doesn't help the mood. Okay, maybe it helps just a little. The strange sunny weather has been nice and all, but for it to return as it should be feels like a good sign of things to come. Perhaps things will settle back to normal, and the crazy drama that has gone on lately will die down. I would hate to be caught unawares in this rain. And with how it looks outside, it seems that the weather is making up for all the sunny days it's given us with a good old-fashioned downpour. The rhythmic pitter-patter of the rain fills the early morning silence with a steady beat. Thank goodness I don't have to be anywhere in a hurry today. I would hate to be caught unawares in this rain. Didn't we just say that? With how it looks outside, it seems that the weather... Hello? That was weird. Okay. It does let up within the quarter of an hour. However, a day beginning with a cloudburst like this, locals usually take it as an immediate sign. I figure that's just some sort of programming error. Luxburn's abysmal weather is back, likely for good. I hope they did a damn good job of fixing this place, because I'd rather not have to deal with leaky roofs. I don't like the idea that the realty did a horrid patch job with the place. Well, Hannah, technically, paid millions for this place. It better live up to the price the realty company sold it for. Roof problems aside, she's going to be a definite downer about this as well. She hates the rain. Then again, who actually does? Does that mean who doesn't? Like, implying most people hate the rain? I don't know. Also, it's not raining anymore. What sane person would like it when 9 out of 10 days consist of nothing but dark, drab, and gray skies and piss water pouring from the heavens? And she was just starting to enjoy the sunlight. I will have to get up and about eventually, that is a given, but I'm not too keen on seeing or talking to Hannah before she leaves for the hospital. Or eventually, in a few days' time, this bloody house. Kylie won't like it if she comes here, only to find me in a bad mood. Few would dare rouse me from bed. Being able to keep their jobs is incentive enough. I trust they realize that now is not a good time to force me into anything. Maybe I can just get an hour or two of sleep before Suarez drops his brat off the mansion steps. If only. But as always, somebody has to be a buzzkill.
Are you really going to stay in bed all day?
What do you want?
You must have been really rattled by what happened yesterday. If you need to talk about it, I am quite qualified in that regard.
You know, I asked in a previous installment, what kind of doctor are you? Is that the kind? Are you like a psychiatrist?
And you aren't even the slightest bit bothered. Truly, not even the slightest bit worried.
I was worried. But I realized that it's not my life in danger, is it?
This guy is the freaking best.
My worrying will not help matters. Neither will yours.
Loath. Well, this should be Loath, without the E. Loath as I am to admit it, he is right. Still, it's more frustrating when he doesn't give me the time to concede his point.
I know you two aren't getting along.
Nosy bugger.
But you should at least see the madam off before we leave. Think of her as a business associate if you must. It would not do to part on bad terms.
It's far too early to deal with your nosiness.
That's none of his business. None of it. If he remembers his place, he'll drop it. I don't want to talk to Hannah. Not now, when I'm so high-strung and paranoid. This whole thing is a bloody mess with everything going off at once. I'm afraid that with her troubles, I'll misinterpret anything she might say or do. That'd just make the whole thing worse.
Are there any updates about the woman?
Being in the dark has me on edge. Information, any at all, may very well help me in calming down.
I've already briefed security about her, and more from the agency will be arriving tonight. But they haven't seen anyone fitting the description.
So you have nothing then? Fat lot of use you guys are. What do I even pay you for? Do me a favor. There's the door. Don't let it hit you on your way out.
Well, there is something. It's about McCulloch.
Yeah, where the hell is she? Can anyone blame me if I show the tiniest bit of interest? She's still not done with the house, and she's a nice enough woman. Plans to go back to sleep are gone.
I called her secretary about taking the day off. He hasn't heard from her over the weekend.
I mean, like, didn't you think it was weird when she went down to the wine cellar and you timed her and she never came back out and is just gone?
She's probably passed out after enjoying a pint or two or 10 in a bar somewhere. She's an adult. It was the weekend. She's allowed to disappear and not think about work. Fuck.
That was a weird read. Because that sentence flows naturally, but that read felt weird. She's allowed to disappear and not think about work. Fuck. You know, like,
I wish I was passed out after a night of drinking. He does know that mobiles are a thing.
That's all well and good, but she's not answering her mobile either. Mr. Parker will be filling a missing persons case with the police if she doesn't turn up today.
Oh, so the police are looking for her because we found her tomorrow. Certainly someone must know where she is. Tabs are kept without fail on people who come to work with me. Background checks and constant surveillance until they finish their contracts with the rights. Some would say that it's all a bit over the top. But I can't be too safe. Too many want me dead.
What about one of ours? Has anyone seen her? She's pretty hard to miss with how tall the woman is.
The last anyone has seen of her was here, the morning of the party. Your housewarming party.
Oh, jeez. That isn't good news.
It wouldn't do for the police to hear of this and to suspect.
It's of little import that I can easily prove my innocence. It's all a matter of principle. Because even the accusation of misdemeanor should not stain my reputation. Although, maybe it is a bit too late to hope for a squeaky clean one. Besides, it'll be such a hassle to have police poking about the house looking for a body that doesn't exist.
Now, if we're done here, I'd like to go back to sleep and...
Well, guess we're hanging out with Kylie today. Yeah, well, there goes any plans of grabbing some shut-eye. Rolling over on my stomach, I can only scream into my pillow. Please do it.
Of course, of course.
Okay, we didn't do it.
Ah.
Okay.
Johans, distract her.
Oh, look, it's time for me to go.
Oh, this guy keeps getting better and better.
Have fun with your little play date. So long, farewell, and auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
Best character, hands down.
No, Johans, don't you turn away from me. Keep her busy for an hour. Come on.
I have to press my face against the pillow once more to suppress a groan. You just can't get loyal help anymore.
Hello there, little Fraulein. Your uncle is just upstairs and will be down in a moment.
Oh, he's too good.
He is super excited to have you today. I hope you're well rested and ready to play a lot.
Oh my god. The freaking sass on this guy is unbelievable.
That bastard. I'll be down in a sec, Munchkin. Let me just...
Change into a fresh shirt, brush my teeth, fix my hair, bemoan my very existence. Wish I was anywhere else in the world right now. Don't get me wrong, Kylie is a great kid. Wonderful. Better than most brats her age. But handling a tyke is the last thing I want on my agenda right now with this whole Hana business. Fortunately, I am well versed in how the world works. I've long learned that the show must go on, no matter what hurdles come in my way. So I set to preparing for the day. Running a comb through my hair is just divine and simply makes me feel more human. Bed hair is disgusting, though it isn't as bad now as it was when I was a child. With how expensive a trip to the barber's was, I often had to grow it out until Mother had the time to cut it for me. The curls and tangles were simply horrid. Why, I was even mistaken as a little girl because of that. It certainly doesn't help that I was named Lucille. A freshly pressed shirt is enough to chase away the last signs of sleepiness. The feel of crisp and clean cloth in my hands is a clear marker to the start of the day. Smoothing down my suit and my hair with a sigh, I steel myself for the horrors. But wait, we'll meet Becca! It's gonna be great! Until she beans us with a freaking history textbook. The horrors that come with taking care of a child.
Good morning to you, Luke.
Hi! It's Kylie! But for now, it is time to stop the installment. Well, we certainly made a lot of progress today, didn't we? We got Luke's first haunting, and it seems some more insight to what the ghost wants. We're not quite there yet, but we're definitely getting closer. But no time for that now. It's time to take Kylie out to that bar and get her food that they don't have, and have Becca save the day by striking us. We'll see. Until next time, everyone.